Are you a social media influencer? The next time you're off in your own world, filming your next Twitter phenom, don't look over your shoulder. Posted to YouTube by BTS in May of 2019, this video will haunt you. The Twitter video begins like any other, with its star checking himself out in the camera before taking some film of the passing city scene outside his car window. Looks just like a normal everyday video to brighten everyone's Twitter feed, but as many YouTubers pointed out in the comments of this video, some random shadow appears behind the star's left shoulder. What is this creeping shadow lingering just behind him? Is it something paranormal or just a ghostly fan watching him? Judge for yourself. Either way, it's 100% frightening. Sometimes paranormal clips will make you doubt, other times they'll make you believe. This one belongs in the latter category. A Paranormal Journey published this spine-tingling footage in February of 2019, stating that after returning from a break in their investigation, they captured this. In entering a dark room that looks a bit like an attic, the cameraman walks a few steps before muttering and stumbling. What did he see? A close-up shows a slow-moving, full-bodied apparition glide past in the back of the room. The uploader states that seconds after capturing this clip, they heard running footsteps and a loud bang.
Someone running. Jeez. Hello?
They claim the building was locked and the only ones there were the two of them. They shout hello, but no one answers. Those in the comments agree that they should have tracked whatever it was down, human or apparition. YouTuber Kevin Salter wrote, "I usually sit on the fence when it comes to stuff like this, but after seeing this footage this morning, it gave me the shivers. Great footage." What do you think? Is this figure a squatter or a ghost? Reddit, the origin of all things internet creepy. Redditor Kiaha alleges that the link to this video was emailed to her recently, writing, "I have no idea where this tape came from, but it truly does scare me." The video is titled simply One Sept and was uploaded to YouTube by Igor ASD. It shows what appears to be an abandoned building being explored in the dark with a flashlight. After a bit of meandering, the shot comes across a sign that says in Russian, "Museum Work," along with a schedule, likely listing the museum's opening hours. Around 2.5 minutes into the video is where the true creepiness happens. A shadowy figure appears in the shot of a doorway across a dark room. It walks through the doorway and the camera's light goes dark. The screen goes blue. After this, a series of images of a building appear, footage through a peephole, and the film's final image, a still figure in front of a glowing monitor. What is this piece? Could it be found footage? What do you think it is? I think it's certainly scary. The Hinsdale house in New York is haunted, and these paranormal explorers are about to find out just how haunted it truly is. Early on, the spirits don't seem to want to be recorded.
It's funny here.
The REM pod upstairs starts going off.
Is that your REM upstairs?
Shh. Yeah, I turned it on. It's up in Laura's doorway.
Well, can you hear it?
It was beeping.
It was, yeah, Mark. It's going off again up there.
After hearing a woman talking in the kitchen, the REM pod is triggered again.
Are you here with us right now?
Okay.
Woman.
You wanna?
So, I think she said, ask me or ask me.
The crew is then given a clear message via a spirit box.
I'm gonna take a couple pictures. That's not pictures.
What did that say?
Run.
Run.
Hey.
When they don't leave, the spirits continue to interact. They even ask for help.
Can you light it up again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Is this what the dandies had to deal with on the regular? No wonder they fled this house. A family in the Bahamas recorded the horrors they endured. Posted to Twitter by Gilbert NMO Morris, he writes, "It has been 14 hours now with Dorian in Freeport, Bahamas, and this is the roof of a home there." Take notice of the wind and rush of the waves. This family was already on the top floor of the house. Can you imagine holding steadfast in the roof of your home moments away from being swallowed by the sea? The event is reportedly one of the worst on record to hit the islands. The Bahamas will take years to recover from this. Around 300 homes were completely destroyed. No doubt the home shown in this video was one of them. The silence and foggy stillness underwater are spooky enough, but encountering a ghostly wreck 20,000 leagues under the sea will put you in another world. Published to YouTube by Tim Powell in February of 2010, this footage captures the aftermath of the SS Thistlegorm in the Red Sea. The British armed merchant ship was powered by a triple expansion steam engine and built in 1940. A year later, in October of 1941, Germans sunk the SS Thistlegorm near Egypt. The ship was headed to Alexandria on its fourth and what would be its final voyage. The ship sailed south around Cape Town, South Africa. Due to the German and Italian occupation of the Mediterranean, an accident in the Suez Canal caused the cargo to be held up and moored at safe anchorage F for about a month, which turned out to be not so safe, since there is where it was sunk. Guided by local fisherman Jacques Cousteau, rediscovered the wreckage years later, recording his findings in his book The Living Sea. Ever since, the shipwreck, which lies about 100 feet below the surface at its deepest, has been a hotspot for recreational divers, mainly due to its treasure trove of cargo. After all, it's a steam train that's been waterlogged for upwards of 80 years. This footage is a window into its underwater world that fish, seaweed, barnacles, and coral reefs have now overtaken. When Reactor 4 burst at Chernobyl in 1986, a 10-kilometer exclusion zone was formed and thereafter was increased to 30 kilometers. The initial steam blast resulted in 2 passed away, while a further 28 passed within months of exposure. These numbers do not even touch upon the total passing toll caused by radiation, and they also don't touch upon the mutations in humans or animals in the area, which brings us to this footage published in March of 2014. The uploader states that the video is filmed at Chernobyl power plant. A close-up of an animal in the area appears to show a headless form on 4 legs running across the railroad tracks. It almost looks like a headless deer. Some in the comments say that it looks like a large deer with the face of a rabbit, or a moose with a twisted neck, and still others say the creature appears as though its neck is deformed and bending towards the opposite side. Mutant or not, kinda makes you wonder what other nightmare creatures are lurking in the area. When you're playing peekaboo with the paranormal, it's never a game. Posted to the Ghost Video subreddit by Podcast Africa, the clip shows an urban explorer walking through an abandoned house. As he walks down the corridor, he glances in a room to his left. There's a big empty window to the room beyond, and in that window this peeks out, a shadow person or a real one. The dark shadow ducks down quickly and the explorer hurries over into the next room and finds it completely empty. So who or what is playing around here? Or are they even playing? No need to go to outer space, it'll come straight to you. Published by Boris Golodiak in February of 2013. The scary video was captured in Russia. The security footage shows a man rushing into a garage. Another man follows shortly after. The first peers out of a small window in the door. After a moment, the garage door shutters slightly. The second guy walks off while the first remains by the door. He shouldn't have. The door shutters again and then bursts, pulling up slightly and sending dirt and dust flying across the ground. This was caused by a wave from a meteorite. The meteor struck above the Ural region on February 15, 2013, and for a moment, shined brighter than the sun, casting off intense heat. The meteorites caused panic and required some people to get medical attention, as well as damaging more than 7,000 buildings across 6 regions. This is just one of them. While driving down a cemetery bypass road, a creepy figure was spotted in the darkness. Published by Asmani Tagat in April of 2022. Dressed in white, this ghostly woman was captured on camera by the driver. As they approach the woman, she continues to just stand there. Only her long dark hair and white robe move slightly with the breeze. What is this woman doing? Is she warning them? Or should they steer clear? Sometimes you come across video footage on YouTube that just gives you a strange, unsettling feeling in the pit of your stomach, despite appearing relatively harmless. This clip is one of those types. Abner H7 posted the video titled Movo10 to Reddit. The clip begins with an emergency warning sound and reads, "Please hold, playback will begin." A dark screen appears to show the woods at night. The phrase "Hollow was alive" flashes scratchily on the screen for a moment, leaving viewers to wonder what that hollow lie is. The walk through the dark forest starts to morph into an unsettling funhouse mirror. The leaves on the ground sway and distort. Another phrase flashes across the screen reading, "They are making it real. Who are they? What is being made real? We are left to guess." Continued shots of the leaves, branches, and grass in the darkness are replaced, suddenly by a shot of the moon. Then one more message appears, "Help us." The clip then ends with another high-pitched sound, an official message indicating the playback is complete. What does this creepy clip mean? And why is this YouTube channel full of them? The SEMGHS ghost hunters record some interesting evidence of the paranormal during their investigation of a house in Waterford, Michigan. Nobody is anywhere near the doorway when this motion detector goes off, so tell me how this can happen.
This is my shadow. Oh, the motion went off.
Then when he says hello, the motion detector fades away as orbs fall.
Hello. Okay, what you are seeing right there lit up, that's the motion detector.
And as they are talking about what happened, a third voice chimes in with this creepy whisper.
Yeah. Plus it was the extender of the...
This clown puppet seems to be sitting up all on its own, though I guess somebody could be propping it up from behind. If it really is somebody off camera though, then please explain to me how this bright orange orb latches onto the clown's head 3 seconds into the video. The orb is just hovering in the pitch black darkness for a full 3 seconds, and then it attaches to the doll's hair as soon as it starts to move. That's too much of a coincidence for me. So do you think we're witnessing a spirit possess an inanimate object, special effects, or what? 2 things that you should never mess with: a Ouija board and the spirit world. Posted by Big Rig Jiggin to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Big Rig claims that when he leaves this Ouija board out on the table, something strange happens. According to Big Rig, this video has been time edited due to it taking over 70 hours to get this footage. I tried to sit and watch for the movements so I could record. The only times it was happening is when I left the room and came back hours later. Big Rig leaves a Ouija board on the table with the planchette sitting at the top pointing downward. He passes his hand over the table and around the planchette, assumedly to show there are no strings attached. Then he leaves the room. The planchette sits still for a long while, but after a time, it starts moving around the board. It appears to slide all across the board, moving around of its own accord. The movement is also shown at a different angle. As you can see, the desk is thick, so magnets are likely at play here. NitroFox0 states in the comments that leaving the planchette on the board is a big no-no, and the fact that it's trying to leave the board means the spirit is trying to escape. Never really thought of that. Now this unexplainable Ouija board activity seems even creepier. A British family seems to be haunted by a spirit they call Freddy. Unlike most other families with a lingering paranormal problem, they seem to have gotten used to being haunted for the most part and largely ignore Freddy, laugh at him, or otherwise treat him as if he's a bratty child. It's an unusual technique that's made for some interesting videos from 2017 to 2018.
Come on, Freddy. I know we call you Freddy, but we don't know what to call you yet. But we like it.
I guess this ghost simply doesn't like to be addressed by the wrong name because nothing touches the can, and yet it makes a noise and goes flying. They never do call it Freddy again after this, at least not to its face. I don't see how this is faked because I don't see a string. In fact, I don't see a string in any of their videos, like this one for example. No string shows against the dark window as this phone lifts up and slams back down only when she tries to say hello.
Don't touch her. You don't have to touch her. No.
And later they turn the light on just to prove that it's not fake.
Come on. Put the light on. Put the light on. Look, the light is on. You can clearly see there is no fishing wire or strings.
If this isn't a ghost, then tell me how it's being done because I really don't know.
It's just hovering. Look at that.
Most of the activity seems to be happening in this living room. When they are all in the kitchen, stuff in the room always seems to move, almost like Freddy is trying to get them to come over here. Aside from the phone, this dog picture seems to be its next favorite object to animate and suspend in midair.
You'll be alright. Oh yeah. I'm not lying, the picture is levitating. I can't...
I suppose somebody could have been standing on a ladder off camera and using a string for the last video, but I don't see it. And there are other videos like this one where they show the full room. And look at that flashing red light. It looks like the ghost may have left them a voice message, which they unfortunately don't play. I would have really liked to have heard Freddy's real voice. Here they are on a different day, standing all the way on the other side of the house, and here the picture is bobbing up and down all on its own, while the curtains move about on their own. The windows are up, so it's not somebody running a wire from outside. There's just no easy explanation for this one. Then, to make matters even more confusing, the picture simply drops on its own as if the ghost is done playing with it. When the mother goes to pick it up, the overhead lamp starts swinging all on its own. Swinging lights are another tactic Freddy uses to try and drive them mad. It is one of the things that seems to honestly annoy the mother, and that's probably why Freddy is always doing it so often. First, it swings back and forth, and then when that fails to get a reaction from them, it starts to move in small nauseating circles. Before you say that the camera person must be pulling on it with a string, consider that there's clearly no string to be seen, and that the light over the living room, where no one is standing mind you, is doing the exact same thing. Plus, I really don't think they'd risk breaking the lamp by swinging it this hard themselves, and the more they ignore it, the harder the lights swing. Freddy gets so upset that he figures out how to express his anger in a new way.
The door, Em. The door. Look at that. The door's never done that, ever. Wow.
Nobody touches the door at all. Nobody is anywhere near that part of the house. At 49 seconds is when you should be able to see a string connected to the door, but even at half speed and zoomed in, no string is to be found. It's truly closing by itself. And in this window, where objects are always moving, stands the outline of Freddy. Some videos seem much more easy to explain than others. Somebody could be shaking the table from underneath.
What? The table's moving. Alright, stop that now. Look at the cat. I know.
While other videos seem unexplainable even years later, I would have liked to have seen the other side of this picture to see if they were using high-powered magnets, but I guess we'll never get the chance. I find it interesting that Freddy seems to be confined to the kitchen and living room areas. Something bad must have happened here to confine it to these areas of the house. Perhaps its anger will one day allow it to explore the rest of the home. In the meantime, they don't know what it is or what it's trying to tell them, and they don't really seem to care. And their indifference only seems to make Freddy grow more determined to grow stronger and show them his true form. A YouTuber named Nugget Noggin is exploring an old abandoned home one evening somewhere in the deep south. He's been here only once before, and it gave him such a strange and foreboding feeling that he couldn't take it anymore and he had to leave. Now he's mustered up enough courage to come back and check out the rest of the house. He wants to get up to the second floor.
Alright, I got this little door here to keep the air from rising up, I reckon. I don't know. Could be somebody up there. Oh man, somebody's standing on it. Cause I sure can't lift it up.
Much to his dismay, he finds a door has been laid over the top of the stairway so that nobody can get through. He tries to push on the horizontal door. One moment, it feels as if a heavy force is standing on top of it, and the next moment, the weight is suddenly gone and Nugget Noggin can get upstairs. Some rooms give him the same weird feeling that made him flee before. He remembers that the front door was kicked in. Possibly someone broke in. Maybe a family was living here long ago and things did not end well for them.
Won't be able to sleep. Look, there's a light on in there. That's odd. There's a mirror. You know what time it is?
Nugget Noggin doesn't find much else and leaves. When he's reviewing the footage, however, he does notice what could be the face of a small girl. Take a look at this picture and tell me if it looks like anything paranormal to you. This video comes from a creepy YouTube channel ominously called I Know Where She Is, whatever that's supposed to mean. Anyway, whoever's filming seems to be at some old abandoned house that's covered in years worth of trash. A loud generator blocks out all sound. They turn around as if startled and shine their flashlight on the doorway, but they don't see anything. Neither did I the first time. Look again though, and you'll see the fleeing shadow of someone retreating from the doorway. Overall, it's hard to tell if this was a phantom figure or just the angle of the flashlight playing tricks across the wall. In a circle near a haunted hut, Om Vlogs sets out to complete the 12-hour challenge. This is what happened.
वो सब झोपड़ी है वो हॉन्टेड वाली नहीं 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 देख तेरा ये क्या रहता है डोंट नो कुछ आवाज़ है कैसी बताऊँ आवाज़.
Something is right outside their tent. When they exit, they hear it in the trees.
मेरे को झोपड़ी पे ना हल्का सा भी मूवमेंट से दिखाई देती झोपड़ी पे. हाँ.
And then they see it in the hut.
रुक जब कुछ बेकाबू है. ओए प्रियंक इस तरफ से आ रही है मेरे उस तरफ कोई कुछ कर रहा है.
Back inside their tent, they hear this, so they turn out the light.
लाइट बंद कर नीचे वो बड़ी लाइट बंद कर.
But that only seems to disturb it more.
लाइट बंद वो लाइट बंद भाई कोई तो है.
And just when they think the beast is gone,
लाइट खोल लाइट दिखा लाइट मार गया बस आई भगाए.
back outside, it looks as though something disturbing has happened in the hut.
दिख रहा है पेड़. देख यहीं से ओए ये देख ये यहाँ हमने रखा था. हाँ देख पहले उसमें कोई जानवर था या कुछ था उसने यहाँ पे ये सब करा है फिर उसके बाद वो कुछ खाने की चीज समझ के.
Well, I'm not sure what beast is haunting them. I am sure of one thing. I will not be completing this 12-hour challenge. An invasion of the home is violating enough, but what happens when the invader is a squatter? Posted by Slav Gavin to the Chills Narrator subreddit. This video was originally published to YouTube by Chino Sky Blue in April of 2017, who explains, "When I opened my front door, there was a girl squatting in my apartment. I had been renting the apartment since March 1st, but had not been staying there. On Friday, April 14th, when I entered my apartment to retrieve some clothes, this was who was in my apartment." At the beginning of the video, the woman in question runs up to the man filming, saying she didn't know she wasn't supposed to be here. She asks if he's going to show anyone this video, and he responds that he's calling the authorities. As the man continues to film, the woman says she doesn't want to get caught up in this, whatever that means, and claims she doesn't remember the previous night and just woke up here. She asks the man not to hold her there, but the man insists that she stay to explain to the authorities what's going on. She starts to panic, but he says he's not pressing charges against her.
I want you to stay here for the police when the police do come. But listen, I'm recording everything. I'm giving you my word that I just want you to explain it to the police. But I'm not trying to press no charges against you.
The only one he has a problem with is whoever has allowed her here. While the girl steps outside, claiming she doesn't know what's going on. That's where the video ends. We'd sure like an update on what happened after this, why this girl was squatting here, who let her in, and what happened as a result. But the channel hasn't posted any further videos. Does anyone have any idea what's going on here? Some in the comments think the man handled the situation well. Others suggest she's crazy and he should be more cautious with the situation. But YouTuber Macron435 perhaps has the most interesting theory. He writes, "Plot twist, that's her house." A YouTuber named RJFD gets a phone call from a friend telling him to look at the sky. He goes outside and doesn't really see anything at first. It sounds like thousands of fireworks going off at once, but this is late at night in the middle of winter in small town Michigan, so that doesn't make sense. There were no fireworks planned at all. Then the entire sky changes color.
What is that?
If fireworks is truly not the answer, then the only other explanation I have is some sort of strange weather phenomenon. Let me know if you think you have a logical reason for what's going on here, because I'm really not sure and neither is anyone in the comments section of this video. There's a little ghost girl in my hallway, says a YouTuber named Kyleo Fisher, and I agree. You can probably see it too if you know to look here. If you stare into the darkness long enough, you'll see it. The barely noticeable outline of a figure with its arms down, neck bent, staring ahead. It can't be Kyleo because he is holding a camera, and this ghost girl in the hallway has her hands at her sides. Tell me if you can see the creepy figure. And if you still don't see it, don't worry, I've got you covered. And in my opinion, you can definitely see the pale outline of a ghost girl much better now. That's just beyond creepy. An unexplained ghost sighting caught on camera by Chris Allen looks real enough to have me beyond creeped out. It looks like something small is underneath, or scarier still, someone, a ghost, is running their hand along the covers.
Where you at? I don't see you. There you are. What are you doing? Yo, this is so creepy.
It looks paranormal, but I am suspicious because he never looks underneath to verify nothing's there.
My feet are over here. Both of them. Look, both of my feet. This is not my feet. There's nobody in this bed. Yo, I'm getting out of the bed.
I really hope this is like a pet mouse or something, or else his bedroom is definitely haunted. A YouTuber named CGA is with her family at a Disney theme park when they decide to turn around and take a quick group video. This split-second decision is all it takes for something bad to happen.
Ay, Mafi, creo que me pasé.
One member of the family is standing way too close to the parade float, and the camera catches everything that happens next. It looks like the girl simply loses her balance, but what you can't see is a large wheel going over both her feet. According to the description of this video, the family was forced to pay for medical expenses out of pocket, even though they say that no barrier was in place to prevent this from happening. They also claim that the employees kept walking by as if nothing happened, but we'll never know for sure because the video ends shortly after the incident occurs. Over a year ago, I briefly touched on the saga of Joseph Chan Sloan, a YouTuber who for years was haunted by a spirit from 2011 to 2014, but I didn't get to cover his whole story. 3 more videos in particular are worth getting into. But first, I did some more research and discovered a blog with years worth of updates. Joseph first noticed an apparition within weeks of letting his girlfriend move into his apartment, so I suspect she may have brought something that had attached itself to her. Soon each of them felt constantly watched, especially in the shower of all places, and it got to the point where they both thought they were getting pranked by each other. But one day, as Joseph was taking a shower, he heard his girlfriend come into the bathroom. The topic was already on his mind, so he explained to her that he thought the apartment was haunted, but then the figure on the other side, the one who he thought was his girlfriend, disappeared mid-explanation. From that point on, Joseph began setting up his sole camera in different places to document the spirit, and that's when things ramped up to the next level. On April 16th, 2012, Joseph announces out loud to whatever's listening that he's turning in for the night.
So we're just going to film this area. I had, like I said, my lighting issues were horrible, so I'm leaving some lights on this time. So if there is anything, hopefully we'll catch it. Anyways, guys, have a good night. See you in the morning.
Orb activity begins at 2 minutes and 12 seconds, carries on for about 6 seconds, and then abruptly stops. The kitchen is eerily quiet for over 40 seconds, and then the stovetop burner turns on to its highest setting. This happens out of nowhere at the 3 minutes and 17 seconds mark, but at 3 minutes and 14 seconds, an orb shows up in front of the oven just 3 seconds before it turns on. Could this be the ghost in question caught on camera? Joseph was asleep, so this event could have burned the whole place down if anything was still on the burner, which is maybe what this ghost was trying to do all along. A full 7 months later, on November 28th of that same year, Joseph puts the camera up on a high ledge to show as much of his living room as possible, floor to ceiling. He again announces that he's going to bed and turns out the lights. It's 11:46 p.m.
Anyways, we'll see what we get and if we get anything. So I'll see y'all in the morning and
Everything looks normal for roughly 2 minutes until a shadowy movement materializes over by the entertainment center. It's hard to notice even when circled, but when you do see it, it looks way out of place. I don't think it's camera pixelation because none of the other darker areas of the room are moving like this. And at approximately 2 minutes, a large, lonesome orb floats upwards from that part of the room and disappears. Exactly 10 minutes later, at 2 minutes and 12 seconds, this speaker falls over and lands not too far from where the orb originated from. Obviously, no one is around to knock it over, so if this is fake, how was it done? On October 1st, 2013, Joseph made his final YouTube video, letting everyone know he has moved to a new apartment. He thinks that changing his location has stopped the spirit, but considering it may have attached itself to his girlfriend when she first moved in, I'm not so sure it worked. This part at 4 minutes and 30 seconds further proves my point. It could be his camera making a squeaking noise while being adjusted, but it sounds a lot like the laughter of a small child.
But anyways, let's see if we can do it like this. There we go.
And when you compare it to his normal laugh, it's definitely not the same voice. And that's pretty much the last anyone's ever heard from him. The last update comes from his blog on July 25th, 2014, promising more videos that sadly never came. I don't know what happened to him, no one does, but suddenly dropping off at the height of your fame is not reassuring to say the least, and makes me wonder if something terrible happened. We've all encountered a Karen or two in our lives, but it's a rare occasion that we're faced with a Karen this far out of control. A ballistic individual was captured on video standing in the middle of an intersection, facing a bus, screaming at the top of her lungs. It's unclear what she's saying and why she's so angry, but what's become clear is that she's chosen to take her rage out on the bus. She targets the front window with her fist, shattering the glass. When she moves to the side door, what she's screaming is finally audible. She's telling someone to get off the bus. But whoever it is she's screaming at does not get off the bus, so she runs across the street, likely in order to escape prosecution for the damage done to public property. No further information could be found on this incident, so it's unknown what preceded the meltdown or followed it, if it was provoked, or why it escalated to this degree. Regardless, it seems like this went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. A YouTuber named Shadow the Wolf is with his friend when they see a complete stranger walking up to them without saying a word.
Oh my god. He's coming closer. Oh my god, shut the window.
They quickly run upstairs and lock the door as the silent figure moves closer. I have little doubt that this video is real, because they are just some kids and this is clearly a full-grown man. They realize he is trying to get in through the garage and quickly lock the basement door. I'm not sure if this is some random person or a fan, but with over 19,000 subscribers, I think it's possible that this could have been one of them. If you encounter a child spirit, be wary. Posted to Facebook by the most haunted places in Pakistan in August of 2019, this video is actually based in Thailand and surrounds the mythological spirit of Gongoi. The dark-haired sprite is said to be humanoid and child-sized. She hops around on one leg and screams out Gongoi, which is the source of her name. This video purportedly shows that creature at the edge of a Thai field in the darkness of night. You at first see the figure's dark hair as it's still and hunched over near the grass, but then it appears to become alert to the presence of others nearby as it stands up and starts hopping away on its single leg. If you're watching this video after 10 p.m., your nightmares will probably be populated by strange Dali-esque creatures like these. Hopefully they're not running towards you. Pripat Amusement Park is an abandoned park in the Chernobyl region. It was abandoned before its planned grand opening after the meltdown that contaminated the area in 1986. Posted to TikTok by Edwin Calderon 608, this TikToker is wondering what this person is doing in the highly contaminated park. The deserted Ferris wheel looks particularly gloomy, standing still with no one on it. That is until the viewer zooms in on Google Earth to see a male figure standing in the service box beside the ride. The man isn't armored against the radiation that still pollutes the area. He is completely unprotected against it, leaving me to wonder if he's perhaps superhuman. Anyone want to risk a visit to ask him? No, that'd be a terrible idea. These strange lights have been flooding around in the desert for years with no reasonable explanation.
Now here we are in the morning, barely out of the Marfa city limits, and we're seeing them out there, so Pete and I we're having a great Marfa lights trip.
But floating is not all they can do. These lights are also known to change sizes, split apart, merge, and disappear at random. Sometimes they even seem to land on the ground and travel at high rates of speed, which makes some people suspect that they are UFOs. I personally have no idea what these lights could be, but maybe we can all figure it out together. Some people say that it's a natural phenomenon that's caused by a buildup of electricity. However, I don't see any obvious weather disturbances in any of these videos.
Look
Look at that.
Oh my god.
Check it out.
Wow.
Okay.
Some people are afraid of nuns to some extent, so imagine how a nun spirit might terrify someone like that. The Ouija brothers entered the UK's most haunted nunnery in this scary video. Early in their investigation, they hear this spooky sound.
I'm just walking, I'm just having a look if there's anyone there. There's a humming.
The humming happens again shortly after.
Hold on, the humming just happened again.
Later, they hear something rustling very near them.
It sounded like someone, you see there's like debris there on the floor. I don't know if it was like debris falling on the floor, but it was like movement. I don't know if something like that.
Was that just some of the debris from the wall falling off? Or is someone invisible standing in this corner? Considering how spooky this place feels, I personally think a ghost nun is there. Say your prayers. Are you a social media influencer? The next time you're off in your own world, filming your next Twitter phenom, don't look over your shoulder. Posted to YouTube by BTS in May of 2019, this video will haunt you. The Twitter video begins like any other, with its star checking himself out in the camera before taking some film of the passing city scene outside his car window. Looks just like a normal everyday video to brighten everyone's Twitter feed, but as many YouTubers pointed out in the comments of this video, some random shadow appears behind the star's left shoulder. What is this creeping shadow lingering just behind him? Is it something paranormal or just a ghostly fan watching him? Judge for yourself. Either way, it's 100% frightening. South Korean ghost hunter Yang Ma-hee is exploring an old abandoned haunted house for evidence of the paranormal. What he's caught on tape is up for debate, so let's get right to it. Tell me if you hear a footstep after he finishes his sentence.
계세요? 누구 계세요?
All of the rooms look completely ripped apart, and yet nothing has been taken. Drawers and shelves are overturned, but clothing and personal items remain largely untouched. It looks like the work of poltergeist activity to me, not thieves. A particularly angry poltergeist at that. But perhaps the scariest part of all is this EVP of a man's voice that completely overlaps his own when he touches the old owner's shoe.
이거 화장실이다.
That does not sound like a house settling or anything like that. It's definitely vocal cords. The ghostly voice of someone who is with us in spirit alone. Final analysis? Yeah, this video is about as paranormal as it gets. Two girls are alone in their room when they decide to play Bloody Mary for fun. They look into their mirror and say Bloody Mary 3 times in a row with serious expressions. They wait for a bit before solemnly concluding that
nothing happened. Disappointing, right?
They are talking about trying it again during the night when something interrupts their thoughts.
That's weird.
They both look very serious, especially when they notice the cord to their overhead light bulb is now swinging on its own.
The light.
Almost as if someone had brushed past it. It's just the two of them and the door is locked. They quickly end the video. No doubt feeling very uncertain about what they've just done. When you have video proof from not 1, but 3 angles, it's hard for paranormal deniers to say it's all in your head. Posted by one Ocelot4 to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor caught the strange shadow in his kitchen on a security camera. He said the window shutters were down and nothing in the kitchen was turned on. He also mentioned in the comments that he sometimes feels cold spots in the hallway, and his security camera often goes off when he leaves the house. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, the following footage is hard to explain. The clip shows a large, dark shadow flash past, falling over the kitchen entryway for just a moment. Not only has the uploader captured this footage from one vantage point, but he has all 3 cameras on it, and they all show the creepy shadow flicker past. What in the world could be creating this terrifying effect? Those in the comments have plenty of theories. Redditor Mr. Mesquite says it's obviously a ghost writing. Very harmless unless you are harmed. Good luck. While many note that it could be something casting the shadow from outside through the windows, the Redditor reiterates that the shades are closed. So who do you choose to believe? Is there a practical explanation? Or should this Redditor bring in a medium and scope out the situation? As another Redditor suggests, whatever happens, I don't think I'd be entering that kitchen for a while. If you were a fan of Tales from the Crypt, this scary video is right up your alley. Published by Proving Demons in October of 2021, this video welcomes you to the land of the no longer living. When they arrive on site, the first thing that greets them is a cemetery.
Oh, it's a cemetery.
There's a cemetery here.
Navigating through brambles down to a lower entrance, they arrive at a barbed wire fence. It's clear that the owners didn't want anyone getting in here. They have to wade through the barbed wire to get to the door, having traveled 5 hours to explore this site.
Oh, please God, let it be open. We've traveled 5.5 hours.
At last, they arrive at the door and are thankfully able to open it. Wandering through the old church, they encounter several crypts. More open crypts and coffins are found at the end of the hallway, while well water floods the floor. A human skull is in one open coffin and there is human hair still on it.
Oh, no. No. Oh,
Education. So, I want to point out, just shine a light on it for me. There's still hair on its head. Still got teeth. Obviously, oh, that's rotting brain in there.
As he's prodding the skull head, they think they hear something down the hallway.
What? What's wrong?
Examining the skull more closely, you can see it still has human hair and teeth. As they're talking about how it felt like someone was walking behind them, someone shushes them from what sounds like the corner of the room.
Really? What's that? Shh. Somebody just shushed us.
It seems this team of urban explorers has disturbed the peace. All I know is I would never be going back to that place. You head outside for a nice peaceful evening stroll when you encounter this, posted to TikTok by Daniela Duque. The uploader says in the clip, "Something happened that changed my life, check." The clip shows at least a dozen people all dressed in white, wandering down the empty street carrying torches. It's not clear what's going on here. Many in the comments are saying this looks like the set from a movie. Others suggest the horror film Midsommar. While some think this group is cult-like, perhaps performing a ritual. Still others consider this is more likely the Purge. Are you ready for it? I'm not. Lizzie Arts is freaked out in her own home because a ghost is haunting her.
Just woke up to smoke alarm.
Weird things are caught on camera all of the time. Really creepy stuff like when the ghost kept setting off the smoke alarm all night.
I'm home alone. I know which one it is. It's my one. It's right over there.
The ghost seems to turn the smoke alarm on upon her mention.
We have 2 more smoke alarms in the house. There it goes again.
And instantly stops when she yells at it.
You need to stop that! I know, that scares me.
There are 2 other smoke alarms that the ghost is not bothering with, just this one by her room. I think she should try changing the batteries and see if it still happens. If that doesn't solve it, then that means this video is really paranormal with more creepy videos to follow, I'm sure. Just by looking at the exterior of this house, you can tell it's clearly haunted. Published by Han Kardasler. These 3 paranormal investigators are doing a ritual just to make sure. Circling a small table with candles lit on top, the men are seen grasping the table and chanting a ritual, while noises are heard around them. Then outside they see this. A pale face in the window moves away. Back inside, the men are chanting around the table again when a wheeled chair rolls into view. One of the men seems to be shocked by something unexplained and without a word walks away. The others follow him, uncertain of where he went. They find him outside standing at a distance in the darkness. He is suddenly snatched by someone and pulled from view. They find him in a strange stick hut and appear to talk him into normalcy. But what of the snatcher? Was this the work of the mad face in the window? I think so. When police officers stopped to assist a car that had broken down on the side of Southeast Loop 820 in Forest Hill, Texas, they probably weren't thinking this was a super risky call, but they'd be wrong, as the 3 police officers and 2 motorists awaited a tow truck, lights flashing. A vehicle sped at top speed towards them, completely out of control, and they nearly didn't notice until it was too late. You can see in the video that the group is oblivious to what is about to happen until one officer spots the vehicle flying in their direction, just in time to throw the group out of harm's way. The car sideswiped one police car, slammed head-on into another, and barely avoided the broken down vehicle and all the people milling around on the shoulder. After plowing through, the rogue vehicle ricocheted back into traffic, but then returned to the roadside, where it screeched to a halt. When the car stopped, police hurried to remove the driver. Unsurprisingly, 26-year-old motorist Cedric Keith Henson Jr. had been drinking and was detained at the scene. Although no one was hurt, they very well could have been. A large rat finds itself trapped in what looks to be the corner of a kitchen. It appears to be at the mercy of the man recording, who to be fair seems to want to cause it no harm to begin with, but as Marcus Goodiron zooms out, you can see to your horror that this is not in a kitchen at all, nor is it on the floor. I guess a large rat climbing your wall isn't exactly the happiest of endings, but it is most definitely unexpected, not to mention a good reason to give the walls a good scrub down. I want to know what you think about this interesting paranormal video posted by Darkalooz. First, 2 pieces of his overhead vent fall off, but when it happens, the camera freezes. So is this an electronic interference from spirits, or is it poor editing? Next, this chair turns all by itself. It's by a window and behind a table, and therefore far out of reach. Perhaps eeriest of all are these 2 legs with no upper reflection. You would logically assume this is Darkaloo's recording, but if it was, as one commenter points out, then where is the rest of him? As it turns out, nostalgia isn't always a good thing. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hey There, You Are Okay, the Redditor explains. So I was going through my old 3DS photos for nostalgia. The reason why I'm posting on this sub is because I'm not for sure if I caught anything in the background. Do you think it's younger me being scared? The video clip shows an empty bedroom. As he starts to scan the room, the video captures a dark room beyond. It's hard to tell if there's a window in that room. However, something appears to move there, or at least a shadow is cast that mimics movements. The camera passes upward to the ceiling, and when it returns to the closet, the shadow and light has changed a bit. But it's the next time the camera pans from one side to the other that the real change occurs. Explain these unknowable shadows. What is going on here? Is there something or someone in that room? No wonder the Redditor was freaked out. In the winter of 2012, this YouTuber was almost a goner when a mother black bear decided to charge at him. Not once, but twice. Speed Shooter XT was hunting in this Oregon forest when he encountered some bears nearby and began filming. The bear starts off by keeping her distance, but ultimately begins charging in his direction. The most scary part of this entire video is the look on the mama bear's face when she begins approaching, played in slow motion. The man managed to scare the bear away by being loud, and shortly after, she charges towards him again before the video ends. Luckily, this YouTuber got away safely, considering black bears can run up to 40 miles per hour. So if the bear did chase him, he wouldn't have standed a chance. If you heard an unexplainable spine-tingling sound, would you have the guts to go investigate?
What is that sound?
Published to YouTube by Jared McLean in February of 2019, he explains that he heard this terrifying noise outside at 2 in the morning. He said that the sound started out of nowhere and reminded him of a scary movie soundtrack. The noise seemed to be occurring a few blocks away, so he went to get dressed and drove over there to investigate, but the minute he went to leave, the sound ceased. Jared said he wondered if it was paranormal or some natural phenomenon. He asked for his fellow YouTubers to chime in with their theories. Some suggest it sounds like a badly tuned orchestra. Others say someone must have set off every car alarm at once. Still others believe it could be a train's brakes being applied on a nearby railroad track. And even more claim that they've heard the same sound themselves. Nash TV Guy put in his own 2 cents writing, "There are a ton of reports from all over the world of these strange sounds, with suggestions ranging from underground bases and drilling. What they all have in common is they're scary. At least we can all agree on that much. Any clue as to what this sound could be?" A Pakistani health and beauty channel called Beautify With Me recently caught a creepy sighting on video that has left them horrified. A hooded figure in black robes is caught on multiple CCTV cameras haunting the outside of their house. It looks pretty scary until the figure walks by the first camera, at which point you can see they are wearing sneakers or some kind of modern looking footwear that doesn't exactly match the rest of their spooky outfit. Still, this video is a major departure from the rest of their channel, and this is a really weird video to fake a day before Christmas, so maybe it's real, not necessarily a real ghost video, but maybe a creepy stranger encounter caught on CCTV. Whatever it is, the mysterious figure hasn't shown up on her security cameras since, and hopefully never will. What is this thing drifting in the sky over Poland? This mysterious video was posted in a private Polish Facebook group and shared to the UFO subreddit by Redditor Revolutionary Kale 46. Let's watch. It floats undisturbed over the field, even peaceful in its descent. Unfortunately, the clip ends there, and we don't see if or where it lands. Some Redditors think it's a Mondo Shawin ship looking after the elements. That actually looks pretty spot on to me. It's got my vote. Unidentified flying device sightings, ranging from Manhattan to Brazil, is enough to make anyone at least a little nervous. A YouTuber named Lazara Black saw this bright soundless blip moving fast across a Miami night sky on March 19th, 2020. It pauses in midair and is soon joined by another ball of light, that moves effortlessly and without noise. Whatever these are, they aren't a normal aircraft, and they certainly aren't slow-falling flares. A second Miami YouTuber named James Black confirms this sighting with a second video, also uploaded on March 19th, 2020. The glowing orb is too big to be a drone and moves so quietly that you can hear the nighttime crickets chirping away. Listen. About a week later, this Manhattan sighting was uploaded by YouTuber Plumber33789 Peebles. What looks like a lightning storm produces no visible bolts, and then the same familiar lights rise together in a triangular pattern. All of them fly out of sight, but this final one simply disappears into the clouds, so I'm guessing that's what the rest did as well. Did we just witness a fleet of unidentified flying devices taking off? I think so. And I've saved the weirdest video for last. This was taken on March 13th by a YouTuber in Brazil named Frederico Mueller, who has been seeing these strange lights for months now. This video proves that they are abnormally bright, perhaps even radioactively so, to the degree that they burn bright white even when behind a cloud in broad daylight. And his dogs are going crazy too, the kind of restless barking when danger is approaching. Not quite here yet, but soon. When a couple ventured into a lake on their 1-year anniversary, they set up their video camera to capture their celebratory swim. Little did they know they'd be capturing their last moments together. The couple was in the scenic region of Yemen. The footage shows the man setting up their video camera and entering into the water to join his wife. It appears, however, that the depth of the lake was not what either had expected. His wife was only waist deep, it appears, as she stands fully up upon greeting her husband. Holding hands, they seem to be playing and splashing each other. Then he takes a step deeper and goes under. He starts splashing around, as does his wife. It's unclear whether he had a hold of her, but both are soon being pulled under. The last thing you see is a hand reach up desperately and then stillness. A few hours after this happened, their camera was discovered near the lake by a passerby. In watching the clip, they witnessed the couple's final moments. The video was uploaded online where it went viral. It's a scary thought to have your final moments alive go viral on YouTube. It's incredibly sad that a happy couple passed away in such a disturbing manner. Did you know that man has explored more of Mars and the moon than we've explored the depths of our own oceans? Which leads us to some of the strangest oddities on Earth, including this one, the giant's pyrosome, looking like a large transparent tube slide. A giant's pyrosome is comprised of thousands of identical clones of zooids that form an up to 60-foot hollow cylinder that can be wide enough for a grown man to fit inside. The free-floating tube appears like a ghostly discarded piece of see-through fabric known as sea pickles. Giant pyrosomes are bioluminescent, which means you can see them glowing blue-green in the sea at night. Published to YouTube by Ross Overstreet in June of 2018 and supplemented by footage from Luis Bringas in December of 2014. This giant pyrosome off the southern coast of San Clemente Island will send you off the deep end. These videos show the creature in action, or rather inaction, as it floats unobtrusively near the seafloor. What would you do if you crossed paths with this oceanic nightmare? Would you be brave enough to swim through? And more importantly, would you make it to the other side? This young YouTuber had just begun her channel when something horrific put a stop to it. Shared by YouTube channel EXTV, this scary video is currently trending in the Brazilian YouTube community. The YouTuber had experienced paranormal happenings in her home before, including sounds on the rooftop, mysterious lights, and moans in the house, but she had yet to capture anything on camera until now. As she introduces herself and her channel, something else introduces itself behind her.
Hola chicos y chicas, mi nombre es Mike Bando y bienvenidos a un nuevo video. El día de hoy me acompañarán a hacer un
Mike, ¿qué es eso que está atrás? Sharon, Sharon. ¿Qué pasó?
After the camera goes dark, the monster escapes to the rooftop.
¡Papá! ¡Oh, mira! ¡Mira! ¡Dios mío, qué es eso! ¿Qué pasó?
But it doesn't stop there.
La luz, la luz. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Dios mío, ¿qué es?
What is this demon? It looks like something nightmares are made of, and maybe it is, but just like your nightmares, it isn't real. After digging further, I found the video's original source is Nicaraguan CGI channel JJPD Producciones. Although this may just be CGI, I don't know how this channel mined and illustrated something straight from my nightmares. Heather of Heather Hauntings is investigating a place known as the Shadow People Trail, a name that needs no further explanation. They go to the very end of the trail where the most paranormal activity is said to occur.
Ghost radar first, because that one's been working pretty good.
That one's been working really good.
Okay. Whoa, what the that?
It was loud.
What the Oh my god, this place is so creepy.
And it isn't long before they catch some creepy stuff on camera that leaves them scared.
So, what the what was that?
I don't know.
Terror. Terror?
Yeah, I'm creeped.
The scary noises coming from the woods stop for a while, and Heather's group wonders if the shadow people have left. Watch the ghost radar screen when they ask the shadow people where they went.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, you were all over and now you're just gone.
They leave a camera facing the direction of the noise and walk away. The camera starts to move on its own even though it is on a well-balanced tripod. Some shadows move in front of the camera at 14 minutes and 45 seconds, and then the camera falls over. They've caught enough paranormal evidence on camera to convince me that this forest is as haunted and scary as the legends say. Delphi's paranormal channel is all about summoning spirits with Ouija boards and other scary stuff, so it should come as no surprise when her house becomes haunted. She wakes up to a wall of home security system alerts, 2 of which occurred right before 3 a.m. Somebody's been trying the back door. The house feels spooky at this hour, so she decides to make a video about it.
Can you stand behind me? What is that black thing?
She turns around only to find it still there.
I don't want to agitate it, but it's like it's trying to show itself when I get mad.
A shadow figure in the corner, or so she thinks. I must be losing my mind because I can see it too. Doubting its existence only makes the ghost more upset as she's about to find out.
Maybe it wasn't the ghost. Maybe somebody tried to break in. Maybe somebody ran out of supply. What the?
She runs into a well-lit room but can't resist one last look. Someone tell me what is sitting on the couch when she goes out to calm down her dog.
What are you looking at?
This might be a full-blown shadow figure apparition, head and all. A YouTuber named Advil thinks he is alone until he hears voices off in the distance. He soon finds himself drawn to the stairs leading down into the basement for reasons he cannot explain. Something just feels out of place down there, but he isn't sure what. He calls out and gets an incredibly strange and eerie reply from the darkness below. Maybe if you are wearing headphones, you can tell me what is being said here. It almost sounds like they are whispering, "He's here."
Hello?
Moments later, Advil receives an undeniable confirmation that something is in the house with him. A dark figure somehow stands out against the pitch black background as it crosses the doorway. It makes no attempt to go up the steps and reveal its true form. If this is real, then whatever is down there apparently wants to stay down there, and possibly one day take Advil with him. This pair of Russian men took the lives of some of the most vulnerable amongst us, the homeless, and they did it so cruelly that they thought it was best to film their evil. The young men used hammers and knives, taking the lives of 6 homeless people in November of 2010. They ranged from the age of 12 to 69. One of the young men's uncle discovered the video on his nephew's camera, and the pair were subsequently arrested and charged for their actions in April of 2013. One was given 24 years and the other was sentenced to life. Neither sentence seems long enough. If you heard an unexplainable spine-tingling sound, would you have the guts to go investigate?
What is that sound?
Published to YouTube by Jared McLean in February of 2019, he explains that he heard this terrifying noise outside at 2 in the morning. He said that the sound started out of nowhere and reminded him of a scary movie soundtrack. The noise seemed to be occurring a few blocks away, so he went to get dressed and drove over there to investigate. But the minute he went to leave, the sound ceased. Jared said he wondered if it was paranormal or some natural phenomenon. He asked for his fellow YouTubers to chime in with their theories. Some suggest it sounds like a badly tuned orchestra. Others say someone must have set off every car alarm at once. Still others believe it could be a train's brakes being applied on a nearby railroad track. And even more claim that they've heard the same sound themselves. Nash TV Guy put in his own 2 cents writing, "There are a ton of reports from all over the world of these strange sounds, with suggestions ranging from underground bases and drilling. What they all have in common is they're scary. At least we can all agree on that much. Any clue as to what this sound could be?" A man riding his motorcycle in India at night captures a bizarre sight on his helmet cam that makes him scream in terror. A strange all-white figure crosses his lane without any regard for their safety. He manages to go around the apparition, still screaming all the while, but I can't help but wonder if he would have passed right through the phantom had he kept going straight. Don't get me wrong, this could in all likelihood simply be a regular person covering themselves with a shroud to make a scary video, but what's weird is how, when he passes by, you can see a spooky white light piercing from under the fabric that doesn't look like it belongs. He turns around immediately and lets out another scream because it's nowhere to be found. So is this a fake video? Or is this apparition actually recreating its final moments on Earth by walking on the road at night and then disappearing? Sylvia Likens was 16 years old when her life was taken in Indianapolis, Indiana. Likens was held captive for over 3 months by her caregiver, who subjected her to increasingly brutal things. These things started with no food and increasingly escalated, and lastly, confinement to the basement. The girl was tied there. On the evening of October 25th, a neighbor heard Likens' cries for help as she attempted to alert someone to her captivity in the basement. One neighbor did hear her cries but did not inform police. As the noise ceased at 3 a.m., Likens passed the next day on October 26. All involved were convicted in May of 1966. This video, posted by Redditor G. Moss, shows the abandoned house of the teen. She was held captive in the basement here, which is from where the EVP is heard. As the 2 men walk away from the basement entrance at around 1 minute 53 seconds, you can hear a voice cry out, "Help me," clear as day. In response to one Redditor who suggests this sound is from children in the street, G-Mas admits that it could be, but to him sounds like it's muffled from the inside the basement. He notes the voice sounds distorted, anguished, and not from a living human. "I'm usually quite a skeptic," he writes, but would class this video as one of the more compelling pieces of evidence I've seen. Do you find it equally compelling? If so, do you believe Lycan's spirit is still sadly in this basement? While exploring a spooky abandoned cellar, these ghost hunters face something more fearsome than ghosts. Published by Scary Labs in August of 2021, this scary video shows the crew investigating several dark bricked rooms. The cameraman scans one room that appears to be empty, then he turns to his colleague, who is directing her camera toward another room, asking the spirits to come forward. When the spirits refuse to answer, the cameraman turns back toward the previously empty room, only it's not empty anymore. Black cloak, black hair, pale skin. What was this thing? I'm guessing Professor Snape, but the crew didn't stick around long enough to find out. This Aztec wind instrument has been terrifying people for hundreds of years, and you're about to be next. The noise is supposed to replicate your final screams, and is even said to haunt your dreams. Listen to this and tell me how stressed out it makes you, if at all. Here it is again, this time in a professional recording studio to get the full effect. I definitely can hear how this sounds like someone screaming for their life. Can you? Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hunting the Haunted, this ghost hunter captured something startling after sitting in the Devil's Chair, which is an urban legend that is likely dated back to ancient folklore. It's a statue of a chair or bench found in graveyards. Let's watch his submission.
Wasn't even planning on stopping by until I seen that it was really close to us. So I figured I'd stop and check it out. Yeah, they said that, he sat in this chair.
I can clearly hear a sad moan. Is something in this graveyard upset with his choice to sit in the Devil's Chair? I think he should leave before things escalate. The CCTV footage comes from Manchester, England, where a supposed poltergeist temporarily turned an insurance office into its stomping grounds. The surveillance footage looks fairly normal for the first minute or so, but then things start to get strange shortly thereafter. After tossing around some chairs, the office ghost becomes much more violent and aggressive. Now the ghost flings open filing cabinets and slams doors while jiggling the doorknob to one room in particular with an angry intensity. What's inside that room is anyone's guess, but it's clear that the ghost is paying special attention to that area. It desperately wants to get in. Finally, the door to that mysterious room opens and closes, and the office settles back into an eerie silence. The ghost seems to be satisfied for now after gaining entry, and it seems to have stopped throwing a paranormal tantrum, at least for the time being. It's hard for me to tell if this video is actually real or if it is a hoax. I can probably go either way on this one. Based on the comments for this video, the internet seems to largely agree. A YouTuber named Will Rubio explores the inside of an old Utah jail with some friends to see what's left behind. Everybody is in high spirits and one of them laughingly gets inside of the cell to recreate what it must have been like to be locked up. All of them are debating whether or not this is a working lock on the door when they find out the answer by accident.
Is there any lock on it?
You think?
No, I think it's a magnet.
Holy
Good joke.
I'm not kidding.
As they fumble around the darkened area trying to find the controls, he struggles to get out and soon discovers the doors are as strong as ever. Finally, just as true panic creeps in, they manage to unlock the cell and set their friend free. Otherwise, they would have probably had to call emergency services and would have gotten in serious trouble. Something materializes before the group during the scary Ouija session. Published by Cazadores de Sombras in February of 2022, two of the paranormal crew are in the middle of a session when one of them seems beyond freaked out. In the middle of the session, they sense someone in the hallway or the next room. They go in search of the spirit but find nothing. As they continue the session, the planchette flies across the board. It's not long before the head nun makes her appearance. They all jump away. Then they find the Ouija board in flames. Throwing it over, they turn to the crew member behind which the nun appeared. He's completely out of it, like he's been knocked out. They carry their friend out, but they're uncertain if they're safe from the nun. This is the type of experience that would practically leave anyone scared shirtless. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.